For today's practice quiz, we are going to use x and y intercepts to graph and solve real-world problems. Now we need to remember our basic information that every x-intercept has a y value of 0, and every y-intercept has an x value of 0, and I expect you to use those two facts to solve for the missing piece of information. So we're going to take our equation, 5x minus 3y equals 27, and we're going to plug in the value that we know. So for our x-intercept, we know our y value is 0. That gives us 5x minus 3 times 0 equals 27. We're going to solve for x, and that will give us our missing value right here. So negative 3 times 0 is just 0, so that's gone. We're left with 5x equals 27, finished by dividing by 5, and we end up with x equals 5.4 written in decimal form. You could leave that in fraction form if you wish. So we get 5.4 as our missing value there. For the y-intercept, we have our equation again, 5x minus 3y equals 27. This time our x value is 0, so we're going to put that in. It'll get us 5 times 0 minus 3y equals 27. 5 times 0 is 0, so that gives us negative 3y equals 27. Finish this out by dividing by negative 3, and we end up with y equals negative 9. So that gives us our missing y value right there. Now to finish this up, we are going to use these 2 points to graph our line. So our x-intercept is at negative 5.4 and 0. So that would be in between the 5 and the 6 right there. And then our y-intercept is at 0, negative 9, so that would be down here. And 2 points is enough to graph a line, so we're going to connect those two values with a straight line, and we're finished. For our next question, we're going to do the same thing. Our x-intercept has a y value of 0, our y-intercept has an x value of 0, and we're going to find the missing piece. So we have negative 2x plus 8, and we're going to replace that y value with 0. Equals negative 40. 8 times 0 is 0, so that's gone. That leaves us with negative 2x equals negative 40. And finish this out by dividing by negative 2. That will give us an x value of positive 20. Alright, the y-intercept, we're going to put negative 2. Our x value here is 0 plus 8y equals negative 40. Negative 2 times 0 is 0, so that's gone. That leaves us with 8y equals negative 40. Finish this out by dividing by 8, and we end up with y equals negative 5. So we now have our 2 points, and you'll notice that one of these is quite a way off the graph. The 20 and the 0 are x-intercept. So in order to get that on there, we're going to move this graph over and give ourselves lots of extra space. We've got to go all the way out to 20. So 9, we're at 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. All the way out there. And then our y-intercept at 0, negative 5 would be right here. And if we connect those 2 points, that will give us our line. On the next set of questions, we are going to do the same thing, but we have a real-world context to do this in. We have our equation here, and it's talking about spending money at a carnival on food and games. Food tickets cost $4, game tickets cost $2, and so that's where the 4x plus 2y, and then the 24 is that we have $24 to spend total. So we're going to find our x and our y-intercepts like before using our equation. The x-intercept has a y value of 0, so we're going to put in 4x plus 2 times 0 equals 24. 2 times 0 is 0, so we end up with 4x equals 24. And then we'll divide by 4, and we get x equals 6. So that is our x value for our x-intercept. We need to do our y-intercept now, so we are going to plug in the x value of 0 and figure out what our missing y value is. So that would give us 4 times 0 plus 2y equals 24. 4 times 0 is 0, so that leaves us with 2y equals 24. Solve this by dividing by 2, and we end up with y equals 12. So that is our missing y value. We now have our two values that we need to graph this equation. So we're going to put those on the grid here to the left. 6, 0 is right there, and 0, 12 is up here at the top of the grid. We're going to connect those dots right there. Now, we are tasked with finding 4 possible solutions in the context of the problem. We actually have already gotten 2 right here, 6, 0 and 0, 12. That means that we can buy either 6 food tickets if we have 0 game tickets, so that would be one possible use of our money. Or a second possible use is 0 food tickets and 12 game tickets. There are other possible combinations of food tickets and game tickets, and if we make our graph really nice, that should help us find them. I've cleaned up the graph just a little bit, so my line is straighter, and you can see that we cross at some nice corner points. Our slope ends up being -2, so every point right here is a possible combination. So we have lots and lots of choices. We're just going to pick a couple to write down. So this point right there would be 5 food tickets and 2 game tickets. This point right here would be 4 food tickets and 4 game tickets. And of course we have lots of other possible solutions at these nice corner points as well. So pick 4 of them and you'll be good to go. On our last set of questions right here, we need to use this equation to answer a couple of questions. C of x is the cost, and x is the number of hours that we rent the tool. So for this part A, we rent the tool for 3 hours. That means we need to plug in a 3 for our x. That's going to happen on both sides. So if we get 4.75 times 3 plus 18. If we calculate this on the right-hand side, we'll have our cost. So 4.75 times 3 gets us a value of 14.25. And adding 18 to that ends up being a total of 32.25. This is a cost, so we need to make sure to write our $ right there for our units. On this next question, we rent the tool for 7 hours. So in place of x, we're going to plug in a 7 and see what we get. So we get 4.75 times 7 plus 18. 4.75 times 7 is 33.25, and we're going to add the 18 in to that. So add 18, we get 51.25 for a total of $51.25 to rent it for 7 hours. Thank you for watching, and good luck.